possible, is this and that, various parts of the screenplay. And it got a little much for me, and it might have been that I was just had a lot of things on my mind. I was recently married. I think I had a baby on the way. I drove well over an hour to a long trek to come talk to these guys, and they were really busting my ass.
Get lawman.
I believe Tim Tennant said to me, "What do we have to do to make you see things our way?" And I got up and I collected my pencils and I just put my things all in one hand and I said, "Blow me." And I walked out of the office. I walked across the street to Debbie and I said, "Look, I just lost my composure with your producer and your director, and I've never done that before. It only happened ever once again in my career that I just didn't have it together. I was like, okay, this is too much for me." And she says, "Well, that's okay. You're under a lot of stress. And, really, it's okay. Don't hold it against them, but, don't take it to heart. If you can help them along, just do a couple of things and do what you can." I understood at that point that basically this was a war, or a battle at least, and the bullets were already flying, and I was pretty much protected because I could hide behind Debbie's skirt, and so I was okay. But I felt really bad for putting her on the spot with those guys. In hindsight, we were all on the same page. It just, the perception wasn't there at that moment. After my meeting with Tim and with Richard, I did have notes from that meeting that had to do with production more than anything else, and I went through and gave it a polish. I believe I altered some scenes after that as well, just prior or at the very first part of production. Production happened pretty fast, so there was I wasn't out on the set or out in whatever wasteland they actually shot the show.
Find them!
What I heard about production on Ghost Town after production began was all super scary from a production-oriented guy. I've been working in television. You can't have things go wrong in TV because the show's on 2 weeks later after you shoot. This show, it was one of those things, and anecdotally, it was just after day one, we're 20 days behind and we've got a 10-day schedule. That was kind of what I was getting. I was getting a lot of negative, like, this will never get done, blah, blah, blah. So-and-so's having a breakdown. We've got logistical issues. Nobody's got any water. No one's been fed in a week, etc. I just heard all, wartime filmmaking feedback. Most of what I heard, I believe, was inaccurate because we have a movie. I heard it phrased as the director's not doing his job. What I think was actually happening is the director was doing his job and was trying to get a little higher production value or whatever he was doing in an inflexible, with an inflexible set of demands.
The right to remain silent. The right, oh shit.
The Casul or Castle or what, I don't know exactly how it's pronounced, is named for a gentleman who created a single action, kind of Old West looking revolver. It fired a new round that was a .454 Magnum. It's a gigantic round for a handgun. They've gone bigger now, there's now something bigger. At the time, that was the absolute apex of firepower that you could hold in your hand, was the .454. Because the round was so large and the pressures were so high in the chamber, they only held 5 rounds. Now, you think about an Old West show, well, it was a 6-gun, right? Well, our sheriff had a 5-gun, but he had a round that would go through, just about anything. It was a very powerful gun, challenging to shoot. And at the time, the .454 Casul, I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly, was a very difficult handgun to find. They were very expensive. They were, I think, $1,500, $1,800, $2,000. And they found one, a big stainless gun. They didn't find the holster exactly, but they found the gun. And it was particular to the script because it had 5 rounds